Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. Professor Chaz here, and the lab coat is still on back order. That's right. So for this week's Pokemon team building video, I'm going to be featuring another group of Pokemon from my collection. I'm going to be taking into tomorrow's Pokemon X live Wi-Fi battles. As I've been doing the past few weeks, I'm going to bring 4 Pokemon that I haven't used yet for my collection, pairing them with a previously defeated Pokemon, along with a previous victorious Pokemon, hoping that as a group together they're going to sort of be able to get into the victory circle, giving them a nice green glow around themselves in the end of the video in that nice group shot that I like to feature. Now, a lot of the strategies this week are kind of situational, by which I mean they're not always going to work out well, but when they do work, they're going to be pretty interesting and the opponent might not know what to do. So without further ado, we're going to get into it and take a look at the 4 new Pokemon, the previously defeated Pokemon, and the previous victorious Pokemon. And I guess with further ado, before we do get into that, as I've said before, the Pokemon that don't actually manage to succeed in these double battles, I'm going to stick around and keep them in Pokemon X and try different formats of the online battles. Thinking I'm going to start with single battles for the first part, because a lot of the Pokemon can do pretty decent in a single battle, whereas in a double battle, if they get ganged up on by the opponent's Pokemon, their strategy's not going to play out that well. So, the defeated Pokemon are going to try some different formats, but the victorious Pokemon will be moving into Omega Ruby double battles, coming up probably within like the next week or so. So, now, let's get into checking out this week's team in Pokemon X. The first of the 4 newcomers for this week's Pokemon X team is going to be Gwar the Primeape, hailing from all the way back in Kanto. Now, originally in the Red and Blue games, I think only Red version, could get the Mankey or Primeape, and only Blue version had Meowth or Persian. So me and a friend caught one of those Pokemon. I caught Meowth, he caught Mankey, and we traded them back and forth. And I think this was actually the second trade Pokemon I ever got in my entire career in the world of Pokemon. So he has the Jolly nature, which is actually pretty good if you're looking for speed. It does increase speed, and the decreased stat actually is special attack. You're probably not going to be using any special attacks from a Primeape anytime soon, so it's no big loss there. He has Vital Spirit ability, which prevents him from falling asleep, and he's holding leftovers. Now you'll see why in a moment. And for his super training, since he does have the Jolly nature, I decided to max out his speed as high as I could get it, and I put max training into the attack as well, giving a little bit more, or the remaining training into the HP, because we want to make use of that with one of his moves here you'll see, Substitute. So this is a pretty hard to pull off, tactic, what I'm going to try to do. It's a lot easier in single battles than it is in doubles, I will admit. But he's got Focus Punch, which at the start of the turn, the Pokemon starts focusing energy into their fist. If they don't take a direct hit damaging attack during that turn, at the end of the turn they launch a very powerful Focus Punch attack. Now, we want to try to make sure that Guar won't be hit during that turn. We have 2 ways to do that. One of his moves is Double Team, which will increase his evasiveness and possibly dodge an attack. Or, if you're hidden behind a substitute, and the substitute takes a hit for you, even if it breaks, Guar himself was not hit that turn, so he's going to get to use Focus Punch. The reason I say it's tougher in double battles is because you've got 2 potential opponents that could target down that substitute. If the first one breaks it, then the second one hits Guar directly. That will break his focus. And initially back in Fire Red, I did teach him the Mega Kick attack from one of the move tutors, but I realized with Focus Punch and Mega Kick, his only offensive moves, he can't touch a Ghost type at all. So along the way, I decided to use a Heart Scale to teach him Punishment, which does more damage the more the opponent has increased their own stats. Next up, we have one of a pair of Pokemon I'd like to feature this week. His name is Pinky, and he's a Slowbro, also from Kanto. His nature is Adamant, which really isn't the best for a Slowbro because it increases your physical attack stat, and I forget what it decreases. I think it might actually decrease special attack. I'm not sure exactly though, but either way, a Slowbro more than likely is going to be using special attacks, not physical, but that is the nature that the game decided to give him when I caught him, and I'm going to work with that the best I can. He does have the Oblivious ability, which initially in the earlier games prevented the Pokemon from becoming infatuated with like Attract and such, but it also now prevents taunts from working on Pinky. So I like how they added that in. He's still going to be able to use some of his setup moves even if the opponent tries to taunt him. He is holding Lumberry to cure any status affliction as soon as he gets hit by it. And super training, I decided to go as much as I could into his special stats. We've got special attack at 263, and I brought up his special defense enough to even it with his physical, and put the remainder of his training into the HP, getting it just a little bit above the 300 mark. So his moveset, I did have Water Pulse on him. I might actually teach it back to him for stab power, but I decided since his only his only offensive move, Dream Eater, is Psychic type, for his other offensive move, I wanted something that could hit a Dark type, and Signal Beam is a move tutor move, and I thought I'll go with that because it's super effective against a Dark type, which he is weak to. And he does have Yawn and Calm Mind. So the idea is, on the first turn, we're going to use Yawn. It's a fully accurate move that at the end of the following turn, the opponent falls asleep. Now, on the second turn, as they're about to fall asleep, I'll use Calm Mind to boost his special attack and special defense. He's going to take possibly 2 hits along the way, but if the opponent falls asleep, and as long as they're not immune or resistant to Dream Eater, I can then use a powered-up Dream Eater, thanks to the Calm Mind, try and steal back some of the HP that we had lost in getting things set up. Now, along with Pinky, we have the Brain. Now, if you've seen the Animaniacs cartoon from way back when, I was a big fan of that, and I decided to catch these 2 psychic types and nickname them Pinky and the Brain. So the Brain has a serious nature, which is neutral. Nothing is boosted, nothing is lost. The ability Insomnia says that he won't fall asleep, much like Guar. It's kind of funny, they have 2 abilities that do the exact same thing, but they have different names for it. There's a few other instances, like I think Huge Power and Pure Power. But anyway, he will not fall asleep, and the item Wide Lens increases the accuracy of his moves if... No, I was thinking Zoom Lens. Wide Lens basically just gives a nice accuracy increase across the board. If I did give him Zoom Lens, it actually increases a little bit better for accuracy, but he has to go later than the opponent. For his super training, I put as much into the defense as I could to try to even that up with his special defense, and maxed out the HP as well. He's got a pretty decent 362. This is level 100, of course. And the remainder of the EVs I put into the special defense. For the moveset, I gave him... Now, this is kind of interesting. The last move I want to mention first is Telekinesis. This is a move that says it hurls the opponent into the air. I'm assuming that gives it sort of like levitate aspect where, ground attacks won't hit them. But it also, I believe, makes that Pokemon that's been hurled into the air under the effect of Telekinesis is able to be hit by any move at full accuracy. Almost like a no-guard ability. So, since Hypnosis does have a pretty low accuracy, I wanted to make sure that we can get as much chance to get that Hypnosis off as possible. One option is the Wide Lens. But if that's not cutting it, I can go for Telekinesis, lock the opposing Pokemon into the air, unable to dodge, then Hypnosis should hit every single time. And while the Pokemon is asleep, I do have Nightmare on the Brain as well, so it's going to take 25% of the sleeping target's HP away every turn. Now the opponent will of course wake up, so you're not going to get a knockout with just the Nightmare. I do have Signal Beam as well, much like Pinky. We wanted to get a special move that is good against the Brain's weaknesses, or at least one weakness being Dark type. But I might want to teach him something else instead, just to have a little bit more variety on the team. Now, one more newcomer for the week is going to be Burrow the Ninjask. So the Ninjask are known for being super speedy. They have pretty decent physical attack as well. And this particular Ninjask, Burrow, has the Lonely nature, which is a defense-boosting nature. Not the best, but it's what he has, and I would have preferred something more like perhaps an attack boost or a speed boost or something. But it is what it is. We have the Lonely nature. The ability, speaking of speed boost, is Speed Boost. So every turn this Pokemon finishes in play, the speed will increase by 1 level. So a maximum of 6, of course. So every single turn you're going to get a little bit faster with this particular Pokemon. And he's holding the Petaya berry, or Petaya berry, however you want to pronounce that, which says if the Pokemon is in a pinch, like if they're down to low HP, the Petaya berry will sharply increase special attack. For the super training, this is something I might want to play around with later on, but just for the time being, we went with kind of evened up defenses. 152, 144, and I put a little into the HP to get it above the 250 mark, and almost got the attack up to 250 as well, which is 248. So, a lot of the times you're going to see a Ninjask used for one thing really well, and that's to pass off to another Pokemon. He does have Baton Pass, and Double Team as well. So when you use Baton Pass, any stat changes of the Pokemon using Baton Pass are going to be transferred to the Pokemon you swap in place of it. So you choose Baton Pass, choose another Pokemon, it comes in with all those boosts. The idea is going to be to use the Protect attack, if need be, to spend a couple turns in play getting your speed boosted, use double team if you're able to as well, and get those increases passed off to another Pokemon. His attack is Bug Bite, which is pretty decent. It's going to steal a berry, and the idea, I'm hoping, if the opponent has a berry that increases stats as well, Burrow can take that, eat it, gain that stat boost, and then Baton pass that off to another Pokemon waiting in my party. So those are the 4 newcomers for this week's team. The first of the returning defeated Pokemon is someone I'm hoping will do even better than he did before. He did okay, but without further ado, we have Squeak the Raticate. Now, if you've seen some of the previous battles, you'll see that he took down a Machamp with a counterattack, and he helped to bring down Mega Blastoise with Endeavor. First, let's take a look at his stats. He does have the Relaxed Nature, which is a defense-boosting nature. The ability Guts will increase his attack power if he has a special condition, such as Poison or Burn, and he is holding the Focus Sash still. I didn't do too much different with him this week because it worked pretty well. I'm hoping it can work even better this time. I did actually mix up his Super Training a bit, though. I originally had him invested with some special defense. I decided, you know, he's really mostly going to be here to take hits from the opponent and dish them back. So, what I wanted to do this time is give him some speed. The way it worked last time against him versus the Mega Blastoise, I was really lucky that the Mega Blastoise outsped him. Otherwise, my technique where the Mega Blastoise hit him with a Aura Sphere, brought him down to 1 HP with a Focus Sash, and then Squeak was next to go. He got the Endeavor off, and then my Aegis Slash finished the Blastoise off with a Shadow Claw. That was a very lucky situational kind of setup, and I understand it probably won't happen again, at least not often. So that being said, I wanted to give him some more speed, hoping that he can use his Facade attack if need be to outspeed. And I decided to, I took all the special defense training away, gave it to speed. I needed a little bit more, so I dropped his HP down just a bit to put into the speed as well. Now, for his attacks, it is the same as before. He has Counter, Endeavor, Sucker Punch, and Facade. And I named those way out of order. But the idea is, with the Focus Sash, Squeak won't be taken down in a single hit from full HP. If you do, say, have a Machamp that comes after you with a fighting move, you'll survive with the Focus Sash, and I can use Counter if I'm expecting a physical attack move to dish out the damage, double, and probably get the knockout on the opponent. Now that I do have him invested in speed, the idea is, next turn, use Endeavor, hopefully outspeed the opponent, and bring another Pokemon on the opposing side down to 1 HP. If we are lucky enough to actually pull that off, and if Squeak doesn't get knocked out, we can then use Sucker Punch. If the opponent is trying an offensive move, Sucker Punch will go first, hit that target at 1 HP, and get the knockout. And along with the Guts ability, I do have Facade on there, which also gains an attack boost if the opponent, or if the Pokemon has a status condition, so a Burn, Poison, Paralysis. Guts and Facade are going to boost that up very nicely with some decent offensive power. Now, the returning champion that's going to help this team make it to the winner's circle, I hope, is Scruff the Manectric, or I should say, Mega Manectric. Here we see she has the Relaxed Nature, again, much like Squeak, is the defense-boosting nature. The ability Lightning Rod will drain any electric moves into her instead of whatever target they're going for. And she is holding the Manectite. It's a nice Mega Evolution, which turns her ability into Intimidate, and it's going to lower the physical attack of the opponents. Super Training is the same as it was before. We got maxed out in speed and special attack, a little bit more training into the special defense. I didn't put it into the physical defense because the Intimidate ability is going to, basically, it's almost like a defense boost anyway. The opponent's attack is going to drop. And here we see, I actually haven't updated this yet. I want to teach Scruff Thunderbolt this week instead of Discharge. The reason I had Discharge originally was because I intended to pair her on a team with my Marowak, and if both of them happen to be up at the same time, then the Thunderbolt would have been directed to Marowak's Lightning Rod and make it useless. So that's why she had Discharge. This week I am going to swap it though for Thunderbolt to get a little bit more power off. And she still has the Signal Beam, which will be good against, not good against ground types, but at least it will hit ground types. We do have Magnet Rise, so that she can avoid getting hit by ground attacks for several turns while she's in play. And Charge will be good for some nice special defense boost. It's going to work really well in conjunction with the Intimidate ability, because Intimidate will lower the physical attack of the target, while Charge will increase her own special defense. So she's going to basically get some boosted defenses all around. And it's also going to improve the attack power of her Thunderbolt on the following turn. So that is going to be the team for this week. I'm hoping that we're going to get some victories. We're going to do our best with these guys. And I know some of this, like, it's going to be kind of a risky play. It's going to be really tough in a double battle to get Guar's substitute Focus Punch off. And another thing, too, with Burrow, since he really does not have good defenses, he's going to be really lucky to survive some hits from the opponent and get to pass his stats off to somebody else. So, hopefully we'll be lucky. We'll get to play out those strategies really well. If need be, and if I fear a physical offense on the opponent's side, I can bring in Scruff and Mega Evolve and lower those stats right then. So, that's going to be the team for this week, and we're going to get into some battles starting tomorrow. I hope you'll come back and check those battles out, and leave a comment down below if you have any suggestions on what what I could do to improve some of these Pokemon, and see what I can do with that. That being said, we're going to end off this team building video for this week. Thanks for checking out this video, everybody, and I'll catch you next time.